Hi everyone. So, Spider-Man has had an interesting history in cinema that spreads currently across 17 years, 8 movies, 4 different franchises shared by 2 different companies, and the most surprising thing about all this is that we just now got a movie that features the Kingpin as the main villain, but that's another story. Anyway, trying to keep a character fresh after all this time is no easy feat, especially when you are the 3rd iteration of the character. However, in my opinion, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has thus far risen to the challenge and has kept Spider-Man my favorite superhero ever. So, will his latest outing, Spider-Man Far From Home, keep that momentum going, or will it serve as proof that Spider-Man is best left solely in Sony's hands? Let's find out! Welcome to Short and to the Point, where I review movies in 5 minutes or less, or your money back! Oh, and heads up, there are going to be spoilers present for this movie and for Avengers Endgame, so watch this video at your own risk. Alright, theme song time!
Spider-Man!
Our story begins with a humorous but touching tribute to Avengers Endgame. Following that, we learn that Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, and his class are going on a field trip to Europe, which Peter hopes will help take his mind off the harrowing battles of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame that he participated in. However, trouble soon finds him in the form of creatures from another dimension known as the Elementals, resulting in Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and a new arrival known as Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, recruiting Peter to combat this threat, and the race is on to save the world once again. However, is there more to Mysterio than meets the eye? Well, since this is a spoiler review, the answer is yes, but more on that in a moment. So one of the first things I liked about this movie was how it gave us some insight into what it was like when the characters that were erased from existence in Infinity War came back to life. Sure, there are going to be some people that aren't going to be fans of how the snap was given a more comedic look in this movie, but I didn't mind, honestly. Nobody except the Avengers knew that the snap was going to be undone until it happened, so it makes sense that there would be some unintentionally comedic results from characters suddenly and unexpectedly returning to life after being gone for 5 years. That's not to say, however, that this movie is one blonde joke about the fallout of Avengers Endgame. I can assure you it's far from that. A major plot point in the movie, in fact, is about how it's addressing the power vacuum left from some of the characters dying or retiring in Avengers Endgame. Sure, there are other heroes out there, but they aren't mobilized like the Avengers were. As such, we find characters such as Nick Fury attempting to push Peter into a more active hero role, so that they can be more prepared for other global threats. This was a wise choice in my opinion, as it helped keep the dramatic momentum from Avengers Endgame going, even amongst the comedy taking place. Now then, while Peter is never one to ignore danger when it's present, for the moment he just wants to forget about the world's problems, enjoy his trip, and spend some time with his new crush MJ, played by Zendaya. Like in Spider-Man Homecoming, I really like Tom Holland's acting as Peter in this film. He can say a lot just with his facial expressions, and his performance has just enough awkward charm and understated drama to keep his take on the character likably endearing, while also being able to handle the film's more quiet scenes when they come up. One of my favorite moments of his acting in the movie was when Peter was talking to Mysterio about how saving the world again screwed up his plans to tell MJ that he likes her. However, it doesn't sound like he's putting his own wants and desires selfishly ahead of everything else. It's just a simple and relatable statement of disappointment. Speaking of MJ, I enjoyed how her and Peter's romance was handled in the movie. Sure, there's no getting around the fact that it's a the plot says so romance, but it was still sweet in a teen love kind of way, as they both try to express their feelings for one another, and they do come across as a pair that would enjoy one another's company. Moving on, as most Spider-Man fans have guessed, the Elementals are indeed just illusions created by Mysterio, so he can pass himself off as a hero and achieve fame and fortune. However, I have to give the movie its props for how it handled this part of the story. Jake's performance was convincing enough that I actually found myself forgetting that I was supposed to be suspicious of his character, and I really liked how he and Tom Holland played off of one another, as it even made me cheer for them during action scenes they shared together. The film also picked the right moment to reveal Mysterio's true colors, and once we discovered his true intentions, Jake Gyllenhaal perfectly captures the smug glory hound that Mysterio really is, and the film brings his more fantastic illusions to life spectacularly. The action scenes, meanwhile, are a step up from Spider-Man Homecoming, being more tense and high-flying this time around, while also being more personal due to Spider-Man and Mysterio's relationship in this movie. Now, if I had any issues with this movie, it's that, like in any comedy, the humor can vary. Sometimes it's breezily humorous, and other times it's pretty awkward. Though thankfully, the movie never spends too long on any one joke. The idea that Spider-Man is also going on this vacation to help him deal with the PTSD he might be suffering from is only sporadically touched on. Granted, Tom Holland still does a good job when Peter breaks down regarding this, but it could have been explored more is what I'm saying. I'm also still trying to decide how I feel on how the movie paid off its story arc. The film does address the fact that people, including Tony Stark from Beyond the Grave to an extent, are putting too much pressure on Peter regarding his place in the world of superheroes. However, the movie doesn't really resolve that arc either. It goes for more of a third option that allows them to have their cake and eat it too. Overall, though, I did enjoy Spider-Man Far From Home. It's not amazing, but it made for an exciting adventure in Spider-Man's life, and the story flows at a good pace and even manages to make its most predictable elements feel engaging. I'm going to give it 8 portals to the multiverse out of a possible 10, and I do recommend it for a theatrical viewing. This has been short and to the point, and I review movies in 5 minutes or less, or your money back. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go rank all these Spider-Man films, which I may turn into a video. I will see you all next time. Bye.